welcome to the Bella Vista Gardening Program. I'm GERI HOERNER, and joining me today is Tony LiCausi.
Good morning.
And he's a fellow member of the Bella Vista Garden Club and a fellow Benton County Master Gardener. And he's been on our show before, and he's going to share some more knowledge with us today. And this month we're going to be talking about garden tools and tried and true. And they are tried and true, that's for sure. And we'll also be covering upcoming events. There's not very many. And a few things you need to do in your garden in February. But first I want to thank our sponsor, the Creeks Nursery. They are just been wonderful to sponsor our show. And they're on McNelly Road, right down from Walgreens. And when shopping there, if you shop there, just thank them for sponsoring us. And they've got some great products there too. And I think they're getting more organic things.
Yep, and expanding every day.
Expanding all the time.
I've been trying to help them with that organic program.
Yeah, we need to have organic supplies. And they're going to be a good source for it, so that's great. And they've got great hardscape rocks and lots of that. So anyway, we thank them very much. So there's not very many upcoming events. We are seeing some of the gardens, the public gardens opening, now that it's, a little cooler weather too. And so if there's some nice days in February, go visit a public garden, and see what's blooming. There's always something blooming, so anyway.
Good time to work on hardscape too.
Yeah, it is.
When you get a nice day in February.
Right, I've been doing that, yes, redoing that. Anyway, we're going to talk today about gardening tools, and you have got some fantastic tools that you use, that you've been using a long time.
I don't know how fantastic they are, but they work.
They work, they work. And I guess the main thing, there's certain tools you have to have in your garden.
Right.
And then shovels would be one. And there's rounded shovels, and then there's flat, straight shovels.
Yeah, we didn't bring shovels today because most people know what a shovel looks like.
Right.
But, you want a square head shovel, preferably with a long handle. That's if you're getting yard loads of topsoil.
Yeah, rock.
Square head shovel is going to get into that pile and get it in that wheelbarrow a lot easier than a spade. A spade with the pointed tip is going to be more for when you're planting a tree or a large shrub to get the dirt out of the hole and to dig the hole. Yeah. But there are also small spade shovels now that they didn't have years ago when I first started. And they're really good when you get into your flower bed sometimes for planting
because you need a small
to medium-sized shrubs or clumps of perennials, that sort of thing. They work really well too.
And then rakes, there's different type of rakes. Everybody needs rakes. There's the leaf rakes with the thin
and you've got metal tongs and plastic ones. I prefer the metal ones, but
plastic doesn't last very long.
No.
So
and then you got your dirt rake.
Yeah.
Your heavy steel dirt rake, which is in our soils in Bella Vista, when you're preparing new beds, my motto is if it passes through the tongs, it stays, and if it doesn't, I remove it.
Because we can't remove every rock.
No, you can't remove every rock.
We wouldn't have anything left. We'd be down to
and then when you reverse it and you turn it upside down, that's good for leveling. It works really good for leveling. Then you've got your smaller little leaf rakes that get in those little tight corners.
Right.
And then I have one other I brought with me today.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little jewel I discovered not too long ago, a few years back. And it's this little leaf rake right here. And what I like about this guy is he can get into corners.
Oh, yeah.
But I let my leaves stay.
I do too.
Now,
Over the
if
winter.
they're on the lawn, they get mulched, and they're in flower beds, they stay. But as we're getting toward the end of February and into March, it's time to start cleaning beds. And I don't want to remove all the leaves because the big ones can build up disease-prone things and harbor insect eggs and all that. So I only want to remove the large leaves. This little baby will actually pierce those big leaves. So when you, I'll do it more for the camera here, when you tap it in the garden like this, And when you remove it, this is full of leaves, and the smaller stuff, which is good for your garden, remains, and then I can put this into a bucket, which ends up in the leaf pile, which ends up getting shredded. Great little
That's
tool.
a good little tool.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Okay, and then I guess the next thing, you got to have garden gloves. Everybody needs garden gloves. Now these are the ones that the garden club sells. They have extra small all the way to extra large. These are wonderful because I use extra small. It's hard to find those. And they're washable. I throw them in the wash machine. And if they get, you use them so much the fingertips wear out.
Right.
There's that product you can buy that you dip tools in.
Liquid
It's
rubber.
liquid rubber. You can just take your little gloves and dip them in that liquid rubber and let that dry, and they'll last a little longer.
Right.
But these are just great little tools. And
When-
Garden Club sells these at the plant sale in different places, so they're
Now, when I
wonderful.
first joined the garden club, being a guy, the garden gloves were all in pink, blue, and apricot and all that. And I said, I don't think so. Guys, they do have them in black.
Yeah, they're black and gray.
And another thing I like about them is they're nice and snug
Yeah,
up around the wrist, so you don't get dirt down into your, oh, put it on backwards. Anyway, you don't get dirt up
Yeah.
into your sleeve. The other thing is you can actually feel when you're potting and doing things
can
like
feel
that,
things.
you can actually feel what you're working with. They fit almost like a surgeon's glove.
yeah, they're great.
But you're going to need another pair of gloves if you have anything in your garden with thorns on it. So I would recommend you get something with some split cowhide on them for when you're trimming those rose bushes and some of the thornier type plants.
Now, sometimes they have the deer skin gloves too. I use the deer skin.
Yeah, do you like them?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they come in extra small to extra large, so it's.
Are you using them when you
sometimes-
do your cut your roses back and that sort of thing too? Yeah.
Yeah, or I have some long ones, you know, the rose gloves with
yeah.
the long ones if I'm really into the roses.
Right,
but,
right.
But
So-
you got to have gloves.
Yep, you have to have
And
gloves.
then clippers, I guess the next thing is the smaller clippers. You've got a couple and I've got a couple. This is the bypass clipper. So it's just a clipper. But on here I have something I got from the casino.
Right?
It's a little clip you put your card on, but this, put this on the clipper, and then I clip this to my belt, and I don't leave it. I start walking away, and it's pulling me back. I have spent so much time looking for clippers in the garden, and this saves me from all that wasted time. So that's a great little thing to put on your clippers. And then the bypass, I mean, these are the anvil or the they call them either anvil or
A ratchet.
ratchet.
Yep, yep.
Because as you get older, you know, you don't have the strength in your hands anymore, and this kind of ratchets you up. You can, you know, clip it and then ratchet it, and it's a saver, really is. It's a great little clipper. And you got a real
While
fine
we're on
one.
that topic, yes. These are Coronas also, like
Yeah,
Jerry. I think Jerry bought those on mine.
Yeah.
This is this. I've been gardening for over 60 years, and this is my second pair of drop forged steel. That's what you want when you buy clippers. Keep them clean, keep them oiled. They'll last. The ones before this are 60 years old, and I still use them. They also make for deadheading these little guys,
They're great.
which come in really handy because you can get in there and snip all those little spent blooms off, so your plant will rebloom again. And then, while we're on that subject,
Wow.
sometimes you have to cut something that's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So again, drop forged steel. You want something nice, big and heavy.
Yeah.
You know, so you can cut those 1.5 inch things. You don't need to get a chainsaw out for that. Okay.
This is my biggest one that
Yeah.
I use. If I have to use something bigger than this, then I got to get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
So this is my biggest
Right.
one. But these are just great to get those larger
And
branches.
while we're on that subject, speaking of sometimes when you have something like that to cut, a reciprocating saw with a blade works really good for getting in tight places.
Yeah.
To get those 1 to 2 inch branches out of really woody type shrubs. Sometimes these come in all different sizes. This is probably the smallest size, but you can carry something like this around, and that will work well too. And then of course there's the stationary ones that get bigger and bigger, and so just whatever.
Those are nice
needs you
because
have.
they're safer, I think. You're walking around with those,
Right.
and they're safer when you have that blade put in.
Now, GERI mentioned the little thing that she got at the casino around her neck for not losing her pruners, but something I did not bring today. When I go into the garden to work for the day, I wear carpenter pants,
Oh, yeah.
okay? Because I've got all those side pockets, and I can carry 2 or 3 kinds of pruners. I can carry one of these guys in there. I can carry all kinds of stuff. And the back pockets on carpenter pants are very, very large, and you can slide things in the back pockets as well. So just a little thing, carpenter pants make excellent garden pants.
Yep.
So I thought I'd throw that in while we're on the cutting tool.
Some people carry a bucket around with them with their tools, but I don't do that too
And
often.
should we talk about shears as
Yeah.
well while we're on cutting
Yeah.
tools? Okay. I'm more of a pruner than I am. Don't do formal gardens, so I like my shrubs to look natural, so I do more pruning. But there are a couple of things where you do need shears, and again, you want, if you buy good tools and you keep them clean, they last basically a lifetime.
That's right.
Good pair of shears comes in really handy. Again, drop forward steel, not this press stuff. But this particular Corona has a nice feature to it. You just give it a little twist, and voila, and now
And go
you
further.
can reach out a lot further or a lot higher than you could have otherwise just by making that simple little
really
adjustment.
handy.
So that's a handy little extra feature.
That's true. If you
to
buy
have.
tools, you buy those cheaper tools at some of the box stores or some of the, well, who knows where they buy them, a dollar store. They're not going to last. You're going to be rebuying them. So
Right,
you might as well
exactly
buy
right.
something that's going to last.
Exactly right.
Unless you're only in a garden one season.
Right.
Who does that, right?
I don't know.
Okay. So then we also
What else
have,
you got there, Jerry?
Well, I didn't bring a trowel, but they're trowels. And
Yeah.
some of the trowels have, some of mine have inches marked on them,
Yeah.
which helps sometimes when you're planting bulbs. You
Right.
can know how many inches down you've gotten. So, but that's,
I don't know. I think I've had this pair here. Again, these are Coronas. These are 20 years old,
yeah.
at least. Maybe more.
And I like the handle because it's padded and
Right.
it's easier to work with.
Yep.
than a metal
And
handle.
then, again, along with this is a little hand spade. Sometimes you're on your hands and knees. You just need a little small area to loosen something up in the soil.
Pick that rock out.
Yeah, I find it really good sometimes when I dump bagged material into a wheelbarrow too. Sometimes it's clumped up.
Yeah.
And this
And it
helps
breaks it up.
fluff it all up and
Yeah.
everything. So works well.
That's
And
handy.
again, you can see these. All this is scrape the dirt off when you're through. If you needle, hit it with a wire brush or a scraper, either one. Then hit it with a piece of steel wool. Take an oily rag that you got in a can, wipe it over it, put it on the shelf, and it's brand new after 20-something years. And I do lots
do
of gardening.
last. So, and then, what else do we have? You got this wonderful little Japanese tool here,
Yeah,
too.
you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Have we done our list down here? Okay. Another little tool I find handy is this little guy. Sometimes when I'm repotting, I can work this around the edge of a pot. Okay. So Japanese garden knife, and the steel extends well into the wooden handle on it. Japanese make some really great tools. It has a rough tooth here, which is great for breaking up root. Sometimes when you're dividing perennials, when you're dividing a perennial, you've got to cut a lot of through a lot of rhizomes and tight roots and that sort of thing.
Like
So,
hostas and
yeah,
things like that.
and so it's a great tool for dividing those kinds of things
Or
up
grasses.
in the garden. Grasses works good. The other thing on grasses, going back, if you have large ornamental grasses, again, I'm going to go back to the reciprocating
Oh, yeah.
tool.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to
You
use
know,
an electric tool for that.
Exactly, and a reciprocating saw on big clumps of ornamental grasses is the answer. We've tried every tool known to man.
Right.
That works the
It
best.
does.
See, what else do we have?
So,
Well, we got
what else?
hose.
You got hose on your list?
Hose on here. So these are
Yeah,
different.
Jerry's got a
I
couple
have
of
newer
hose.
ones.
You've got older ones you've had for
Right.
years.
These I got from the Master Gardener state meeting, and it's very sharp. So you just hoe your little.
Weeds
Right.
off.
And the other one I got is mainly to get these
Rocks out of,
the beds.
Right,
And this is really a good one to get your rock.
pull that rock out.
yeah.
So you can see I've gotten quite a few rocks out with that one. But
And a
we do
nice
have a lot of
lightweight
rocks.
pick would come in handy too. You know?
Oh, I have to have a pick,
You-
yeah.
you can't garden, you can't start a garden in Bella Vista without a pick.
Yeah,
That's your main tool, so.
On hose, there's so many different kinds of
Oh,
hose.
yeah.
One thing you want to do with a lot of hose, or you want the purpose of it is to move some dirt in trenches and places like that. This particular hoe that I brought today is about 120 years old. It was my wife's great-grandfather's. It is all drop forged steel. It is all one piece. It has a tapered handle, so the more you pull on it, the tighter it becomes. Okay. My guess is this head will last another 200 years.
Probably,
At
yeah.
the most. It's very heavy, so the tool does the work. So when you drop it, you just have to gently pull it, and it moves a ton of dirt without you using a lot of muscle. So that's one kind of hoe. Then there's the standard hoe that everybody knows about. And then on the same take as Jerry has here, this is one of my favorites. When I first joined the garden club, and they said, "What do you do about weeds?" And I said, "Well, I have a Japanese hoe." They all laughed. I guess.
Well.
So this is a Japanese garden tool, and if you'll go get a Japanese garden tool catalog, you would be surprised some of the magnificent tools that might get your attention. They make some of the very best hand saws
digging, yeah.
that you can imagine. That's what David Rain's tree service uses. Those saw
they're
but you
great.
better know what you're doing. But anyway, this again is drop forged steel, but it has, I don't know if you can see this
like a
edge,
razor,
has this beveled edge on it. I keep it very, very sharp. It has very sharp tips on it, and it has a very lightweight but strong handle. I don't know what kind of wood the Japanese are using. What I like about this is everybody says, "Oh, I got so many weeds in my garden, I got so many weeds in my garden." You know, when weeds are small, they're easy to remove. The bigger they get, the harder they are to remove. So just a little, I'm going to stand for this, just a gentle walk through the garden with your iced tea or your favorite beverage in one hand and this lightweight little guy. Can we get down to the floor with the camera?
Yeah.
I don't know. You can just take this little guy and you see that little 1-inch thing sticking up, or that little 2-inch, you just, a little flip of the wrist, like so, and voila, he's gone. You know, and you're just walking around casually, relaxing. So gardening doesn't have to be, you know, a laborious type thing. You know, you can have fun with it and you can do it
You
relaxed.
can make it easy.
If you walk those gardens on a regular basis, a lot of people go in, they do a big cleanup in the spring, and 3 months later they revisit and they go, "Oh, where'd all those weeds come from?" So stay after them. So there's another use for a
They come
hoe.
back daily, it seems like.
What else we got, Jerry?
Well, we've got,
Oh, well, I'm on the subject of weeds. I have another favorite tool.
oh, yeah.
I know,
Think of a
ladies.
screwdriver?
Think of this little tool.
Oh. Everybody's
I
got
don't
one
know
of
if
those,
anybody
I
knows
guess.
what this is. This is a nice, big, flat head screwdriver.
Yeah.
If you have Bermuda grass creeping over into your flower bed, this is the guy you want to do. Okay? Especially in Bella Vista with rocks, this guy goes in like so, and then from that point it's all wrist. You just lift and you get that rhizome. If you don't get the rhizome on Bermuda, it's just going to keep coming back and coming
Got to
back.
get that root.
So this will penetrate. You can put your thumb on it. You can lift it straight up. I just had an entire bed that was full of mint, peppermint,
Oh,
and
that's as bad as
cleaned,
Bermuda.
as
Yeah.
bad as Bermuda, cleaned it all up in about an hour, hour and a half. Not one plant came back, just kept combing through the dirt with this little guy right here. I carry it around. Sometimes I'll take a weed out with it. You know, I saw something, a big broadleaf popped up somewhere, and I can get right at the base of it, just give it a little pop. So, great little tool to put in your carpenter pants when you're walking around.
All right.
Okay.
And then you've got a little auger there.
Oh, another little tool that a lot of people don't think about for weeded areas is a carpet knife.
Oh, yeah.
You know, carpet knife of all things. So, and it's great too. Sometimes you're walking around, you got it in your pocket, and you spot that broadleaf or whatever, and you can just get right up at the base of it, and you can just
Snap
cut
it
it
out.
right off. Real easy. Handy little tool.
Yeah, they are
If you
sharp.
have one, you can use it for that as well. So, what else we
What else
got?
we got? Let's see. You got auger there.
Want me to keep going? Okay. We're going to get to planting season pretty soon. So, this in Bella Vista is almost invaluable.
That's the first one you should buy. First tool you should buy,
It
right?
was when I moved here. It was one of the first
First
ones I
ones.
bought, and it was at when we had the store there where Rogers is now. And I bought this there, and it's a good piece of steel. So the first part I'm going to use this because it's going to get through rocks and that sort of thing. And then I can reverse it to make the hole a little wider. It's good for planting annuals and
Small
and bulbs. And
shrubs,
that sort of-
yeah.
The other thing is, as opposed sometimes to a trowel, with a trowel when you're on your hands and knees, you got to bend way over. It's harder on the back. With this tool, you're not bending over so much, and I find it's easier on my back using it. And again, it's very heavy because it's a heavy, heavy piece of steel.
Yeah.
It's not that pressed iron or whatever they're making those cheap garden tools out of. So the tool does the work. It really does save your back.
It does.
And valuable. And while we're on planting, if you're planting bulbs and your soil has been tilled, this is an auger to put on your cordless drill that you have at home, and you can lay your bulbs out in any pattern you want it, and just right alongside drill your hole. Then all you got to do is drop the bulbs off in the hole, kick the dirt over, and you're done. But you can
plant a lot of bulbs that
you
way.
can do like
Yeah, hundreds.
we'll do 300 in an hour. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, you can really
They're
boogie
great.
with this little baby.
Yeah.
And again, keep it clean. And then while we're doing all these things, another thing I found that comes in very handy.
It's a knee pad.
Yeah, some people, complain about their knees, and they some people use knee pads that they carry around with them. I find that cumbersome.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to just do a demo here. These are,
Oh, you got your.
oops, oh, I lost my mic. That's it. They're there.
Yeah. You
That
kneel
quick,
down, get
that
up,
fast.
whatever.
These are over 20 years old, probably 25 or 30 years old. And they just pop right off. Pop, pop. That's it.
Okay.
And we'll get to watering. When do you water? Well, you water when the ground is dry.
Right.
You know, people have automatic I have an irrigation system on my lawn, but I don't put it on automatic. I flip it on manually
Yeah, I do
when I need
too.
it. I didn't have an automatic feeder on my children when they were growing up. We didn't squirt water in their mouth
Every
at
hour.
regular intervals. I don't do that with my plants. But a great moisture meter for your lawn especially, and your flower beds, is a Phillips head screwdriver. Now about a 6-inch, you want about a 6-inch shaft. And all you do is insert it into the ground, give it a little twist, pull it out. Now, here's how you know if you need to water your lawn or not. If there is no dirt in those little space on that Phillips head, if it comes out dry, you need to water. If there's soil in there and you can pull the soil up and roll it up into a little ball, you don't need to water that grass. Okay?
Yeah.
Really high tech.
High tech,
High tech.
but it works. It really works.
But it works.
It really works. And the other thing we had was the sprayer.
Oh, yes.
I love this new sprayer.
Yeah, see, I
It's
got
new
you.
to me, but it's not new to you. It's, what do they call it? Trombone sprayer.
Right.
And I just got mine
Put my
late
mic
last
back on
year.
here.
I haven't,
There.
I haven't used this yet. I just got it late in the year. But you've had yours for,
Long
time. and this is, I get so tired of buying those sprayers every year because they clog up and, you know, no matter what brand you buy, they don't last.
And no matter what price, you
Right.
use it a year and it starts
it's
leaking
gone.
from here and there because
Yeah,
of all
it
the...
doesn't spray.
Right.
But your
Ah.
trombone is
Okay.
fantastic.
This is what we're talking about, folks. I've demonstrated this many times. This is a trombone sprayer, as opposed to your pump-up tank sprayer. All you need, 5-gallon bucket, mix up your solution, put it in there, drop this into your bucket, and you take your trombone sprayer and you just play the trombone. Now, some nice features here. One is this magnificent head that's on here. This head can be adjusted to a fine spray or a steady stream that will shoot 25 to 28 feet up in the air for tall shrubs and trees. Or if you're in your vegetable garden, you can turn this little guy upside down and turn it like this with a fine spray, and with your neem oil and things like that, when you got those pesky little bugs that get on the underside
Of your leaves.
of your Swiss chard, you can get up underneath there and you can just pump away like so, and you
Right.
get that nice mist on the underside of the leaf where those little bad guys are hiding. This trombone sprayer here is about 24 years
24
old.
years old.
I got tired of buying pump-up sprayers all the time too.
Oh, I know.
So it's called a trombone sprayer. Now the newer versions,
This is nice.
like GERI has bought, has a machine gun pistol grip on them now too. So they've
See, it's new. I haven't even unwrapped it all.
Yeah, they've gotten them.
So this is like,
Yeah, they've gotten a little more high tech now,
High tech,
right,
yeah.
with the pistol grip handle.
Yeah.
But they work great, and all you got to do is just make sure you run clean water through it when you're
Right.
through.
it's even got a little filter on it, so nothing
that's
goes
about
through.
it. About the only thing that's in here is a common little O-ring. I've never removed mine because I keep them lubricated with a little Vaseline, but so there's a little tiny O-ring that's in there that you can buy at any hardware store. They'll
Well, you
all
know,
have
the
it. It's a
others-
standard size.
When you had sprayers before, you had to have one sprayer for one type of solution, and then another sprayer for another solution. And this way, you got your different buckets. You know, you
That's
just swing
true.
out your bucket, use the same bucket. So, I think we've gone through just about all the tools.
Yeah.
And I think we.
Couple of other things that I had made a note to myself on that I wanted to bring. The other day, I had a need to get a water hose out, and you know how cold it's been.
Oh yeah.
And go get a rubber hose out right now. You can hardly bend the darn thing. Those black nylon hose you've seen at Lowe's and Home Depot, You know, it's sort of a ruffle-looking, heavy black nylon.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 3 of them. I have a 25, a 50, and a 100. So I drug that hose out 2 or 3 days back when it was freezing cold, and it was just soft and supple and everything.
Really?
Got the job done, drained it, put it back away. And so if you had to get a hose out when we've had a lot of freezing
Yeah, 'cause
weather,
I got rubber hoses and they're hard.
oh yeah,
in the
they
winter.
all doesn't make any difference what price you buy, what
Yeah.
brand, makes no difference. But those nylon hoses work right. And I wanted to mention that because you never know when you might
Well,
want
if
that
you
hose.
have a dry winter, you have to drag those hoses out
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
You know,
And
especially
that-
if you just planted
that
something.
nylon
in the fall.
is terrific.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, I foresee that the day is fast approaching that we're going to probably have most domestic power tools for the garden are going to be rechargeable electrics.
Yeah.
The batteries are lasting longer and longer. They charge faster and faster. They're getting more and more powerful. Case in point, I have a really good Stihl chainsaw. And but how often do I need a chainsaw in an urban landscape?
Yeah.
You know, so what? Every 2 years or 3 years, and you only need it for 30 minutes or an hour. Well, they gum up. You know, well, I got a 58-volt chainsaw that is fabulous. You know, and all you do is just charge the battery and go out there and use it, and then
Yeah.
and you're done.
It's a lot easier.
They've got the lawnmowers now have gotten to where it's not, the amperage is way up on a lot of those. The pole trimmers, you know, are getting better and better and better. I've got a friend of mine that has one, and it is terrific. It beats being up in that tree doing
Yeah,
this
yeah.
number. And then the other thing would be your string line trimmers. But what I have found about the string line trimmers is until they get the batteries a little lighter
Yeah,
weight,
yeah, they're-
because you're holding that particular
It's
tool
heavy.
a long time, and it is
Your
heavy.
shoulders
So at this
really-
point, I'm still with the gasoline ones, but
Yeah.
that could change. But the people that I see in the future staying with all gasoline powered are professional people that are using a tool all day, every day
You
of
have
the
to
week.
refill it, yeah.
But for the average homeowner, I really see it going strongly electric, and the electric rechargeables are getting better and better every day.
Well, there's other things we have to do in our garden in February also. Not a whole lot. There's the end of the month we have to think about cutting our grasses back and our liriope.
Right.
You know, monitor your water for your trees and shrubs that you just planted. Don't do anything with roses yet. It's too early.
Yeah, I usually wait somewhere between the middle of February and the middle of
And
March.
if it's if we're going to have this long, elongated winter, which we may have,
Could have.
you know, we're just going to have to delay things a little more. So the main thing is keep those leaves off your lawn, and you can start trimming your perennials probably, or transplanting perennials probably the end of February, start of March.
Yeah, getting into March.
Depends
start
on the weather. It
doing
all
some
depends on the
dividing.
weather.
Right.
So, and don't forget to feed the birds. Gotta
True,
feed the birds.
yes.
So, but anyway, with winter coming, you know, you just want to sit with your hot chocolate and plan your garden for the future. And the next garden club meeting is going to be Wednesday, February 23rd at the community church. I think they'll also do Zoom probably. And the program's going to be the cycle of garden design. Look at the past, present, and future, and that's with Dawn Denton. And she's a Benton County Master Gardener.
Be good to see her again.
Yeah, and she owns 2 businesses actually now. She owns Gardening by You and Me,
Right.
and she also owns My Little Lavender Farm. She's got another business going,
Right.
lavender. She
Yeah,
loves
well,
lavender.
She loves lavender, always has,
so,
yeah.
So anyway, but there's always more information on our Garden Club website, bellavistagardenclub.com. And thank you, Tony, for joining us and sharing all
Well,
your
Thank you for
information.
hosting all these shows that you do for Garden Club and down through the years, you
Well,
know.
we've been doing it a long
Yeah,
time, but
people-
there's always new things or new
Yeah.
information we have to get out to people.
Well,
so
you know, it's
it's fun.
fun to share
It is.
garden experiences with people.
We love to
Yeah,
share.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for joining us today, and I hope you'll join us next month. And until then, don't forget to stop and smell the roses.
Yep.